Welcome back, everybody. Driver53 here, and today we're taking another look at when lime is actually needed in your processes. Is it needed every single time? Is it going to be cost effective? That's what we're going to be taking a look at here today. We're going to do every crop, so it's going to be a lot of data, but we're also going to look at every single soil type. So it's going to give you a full rundown all the way. And the prices that we're going to look at today for your revenue loss are going to be based on average crop sales. So we did a previous video on that also. So if you want to, go ahead and go take a look at that one. And it's going to give you all of the average prices and all of the highest prices based on my testing that I did over 10 days, 4 points each day. So let's go ahead and take a look here at this first slide. What this one is the previous slide that I had from the last video that we talked about. And I don't think I did a really good job of presenting the data properly. It might be a little bit confusing as to exactly what's going on. So I changed it up. So the first one here that you see is lime every harvest. What that means is you're going to put lime every single time after you harvest your fields. Okay, and you can see that the cost is going to be $206. You're not having a loss, so is it worth it? Well, let's look at the second part over here. This is if you skip lime one harvest. So you're going to harvest, not apply any lime, and then you're going to harvest, and then you would apply lime that time. Okay, so the cost of the lime is actually $412 because you're stepping down 2 steps after the second harvest, right? Obviously, you're going to go from 6.75 to 6.5 and then down to 6.25. So to be able to apply lime to get back up to zero, to get back up to optimal, it's going to be $412. And we're talking about loam right now. I'm only going to talk about loam all the way across this until we get a little bit later, and then I'll make note of which one we're talking about then. But your average revenue loss is only going to be $32. That's crazy because it's only 0.5%, right? You're going to harvest the first time, so you're going to get a full yield on that because you got your lime all the way good. The second time, you drop down that 0.25%, so you're going to get this 0.5% of loss, but it's only $32. And, it was going to cost you $206 to do it before, and now it's going to cost you $412. So I don't really think that lime is important right now because you're losing money. You're spending more money on lime than you are on the loss that you would see. So I honestly don't feel that it is needed right now at this stage. So that means you can go on, skip it again to your next one, right? Let's take a look at the next slide. So this next slide is going to have a lot of data on it, and I'm sorry if it's a little bit small on your screen. We are going to post these over on the Discord also, so you guys can look over there, make them a little bit bigger, and fully understand. The biggest thing that you're looking for here is the green cells. That's going to tell you, yes, that's whenever I feel like you need to apply the lime because then it's going to be beneficial to you. All right, so we've already gone over lime every harvest, and we've already gone over skip lime one harvest. So if we take a look here in the top right hand corner, it says skip lime 2 harvests. So what that means is now your starting pH was 6.25 and it's going to drop down to 6.0. Your average revenue loss on this is going to be $146. But at the end of this harvest, it's going to cost you $618 to apply that lime to get back up to where you needed to be. It's not, I still don't think you're going to make any money there. So if we go to the middle row on the left, same thing. Now your average revenue loss is $495 and it's going to be $824. So right here on skip 4 harvests, you can see that your average revenue loss is $1,077 and your cost of lime is $1,030. Now, your need to lime now says yes because you lost more than what it's going to cost you to be able to get your field back up. So at this point right here, this is where I would lime at. And you can see on the other soil types, you really, it takes a while before you actually lose more money on your harvest than you're going to be spending on your lime. So yeah, we can see skip lime 5 harvests, again for loam, but your silty clay never actually comes in until like the 6th harvest. I didn't have a value for how much that was going to be. So we just used the same chart that we had before, but I feel like right there is where you'd want to do it at on silty clay is skipping lime 6 harvests right there. And then, you can see that sandy loam comes in at your 7 harvest mark and your loamy sand comes in at your 8. So, you're going to be, skipping 8 harvests and then that's when you're going to lose your money. So I would do it on that 8th harvest is whenever I would do it. And that's what I mean by this. All right. So whenever you've got a need to lime that says yes, you would actually want to do it on the harvest before that. So like on the first one here that we see skip lime 4 harvests, you're going to be losing money on that one. So you actually want to skip 3 and then lime, which is just like base game. Very, very interesting, right? You do 3 harvests and then you put your lime down, but it's only happening on the one soil type, which I find is really, really interesting. And it's not the one that's 100% either. So we all know that sandy loam is 100%. So you would think sandy loam would be the one that would make you want to put down lime after 3 harvests, but it's actually loam. It's really, really interesting here. So I want to go over how I figured up the average revenue loss. So what I did on the very first one, you can see that that's $0, right? The second one, it's 29. Well, that is a 0.5% drop off your yield. But for skip lime 2 harvests, what I had to do was figure out what 2% loss was, and then I had to add the other 0.5% because you've lost that, right? You have to add that in here because it makes it, you know, if you go all the way across this and you say, if you look at each harvest by itself, you know, you're never going to get to a point, or very rarely going to get to a point where you actually need to apply lime. But you're forgetting about that other loss that you just had on that harvest prior. So that's why you're going to see this number get really big a lot faster than we did on the previous video, because you're adding every single harvest before this that you have lost on. So that's why you're going to see that my information before was, it was off. It was, I'm admitting it. But I started thinking about this. I'm like, man, we lost money over there too. So we had to add it in here. So let's go ahead and take a look here at barley. And barley is going to be the exact same thing. So whatever you do on wheat, I would do the exact same thing on barley. I'm not going to go through the details because they're all, you know, the prices are a little bit different, but the results are the same. And here for oats, you're going to see the exact same thing. So wheat, barley, and oats, all the same. Whatever you do on one, you're going to want to do on the other ones. Now, canola is a little bit different because it actually starts happening a little bit sooner. Not so much on your loam, but on your silty clay. Silty clay actually comes in and you're going to need it after your 5th harvest. And as you can see on the other ones, your sandy loam and your loamy sand, you're going to need those earlier also, just by 1 harvest. So whatever you're doing on the wheat, I would do this one before, and then you're good to go on that. So here we have sunflowers, and it's going to be the exact same thing as canola. So whatever you do for canola, do the same thing here. Just like wheat and oats and barley are all the same, canola and sunflowers are the same here. And you can go ahead and add soybeans to that too. So canola, sunflower, and soybeans, all going to be the same. Go ahead and start hitting it 1 earlier than you would on your wheat. Now corn looks very, very similar, but it's got one little difference. From the time that your loam and your silty clay come in, you can see that they're on harvest 4 and 5, or skip 4 and then skip 5. On skip 6, there's actually nothing that's going to be needed for your sandy loam and loamy sand, so you can actually wait until, you know, skipping 7, and that's whenever you're going to see it. So just a slight little tweak there. You could probably get away with doing it on the 6th harvest, because as you can see on sandy loam, it's $711 versus $721, so it's really close, but it is just slightly different. So here we have potatoes, and it's a really unique one because right out of the bat, you know, at 3 harvests, you're going to see that you actually need to apply your lime because it's a pretty big difference there on loam. It's $1,150 of loss versus $824 of your lime cost. So I would apply it after your 3rd harvest, just like base game, because it's a pretty significant, and it's going to be on loam and silty clay both. Now, silty clay is close, really close, but I would go ahead and do it. And then your loamy sand and sandy loam, they come in after or at skip lime 5 harvests. So after your 4th one is whenever I would apply it there. So really awesome results here. It's happening a lot quicker here on the potatoes. So sugar beets is going to be very similar. It's really close on the skip lime 3 harvests. It's, you know, only about $26 difference. So pretty much what I would do is whatever you're doing for potatoes, do the same thing for sugar beets. I know it doesn't show it right here, but it's only about a $26 an acre difference. And I think you can make that up in a different way that I'm going to touch on here in just a minute. So cotton here is very similar to those other 2 crops that we just had, potatoes and sugar beets, but as you can see, only loam needs it at the skip lime 3 harvests. So after your 3rd harvest is whenever I would apply lime on loam, but the next harvest over is whenever you start seeing the effects on your silty clay. and it's a pretty big significant. It's $530 per acre there on silty clay. So I would definitely do that. And for those of you that want to run sugarcane, it happens really quick. So as you can see on loam, if you skip 2 harvests, you're already going to see a result, a negative result, right? It's going to be $633 in loss versus $618 to lime it. So definitely go ahead and do it every other harvest on loam. I know it's not a big loss, but like I said, there's something we're going to talk about here in just a few seconds that is going to influence this greatly. So the last thing I want to talk about is these are average prices. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and show you the price guide right here that we used previously, so you can see that we have all the crops going all the way across. Now we also do have silage, grass, hay, and straw. Okay, but the main part that I want to point out at is the lowest sell price. That's the lowest that I recorded on all of my data points that I gathered. I gathered 40 points over 10 days. The next one is the average sell price. That's what we're actually looking at here. All of this data is based on average sell price. And if you are able to sell your crops for the highest price that we have listed right here, then you're going to need to lime sooner. The reason is because you're getting a bigger loss total because it's a percentage of your total sales, right? Basically. So let's take corn, for instance. It's $664 on average. That's what we based all of our stuff on. But if you can sell it at $931, that's, 50% more. It's almost 100, well, almost 150%, right? It's a lot more. So what that means is that if you're selling really high, I would go at least 1 harvest, maybe 2 harvests sooner. It's better to take a little bit more of a hit on your lime than it is to take a hit on the lost revenue. Now, the other thing that affects this right here is the economy setting that you're playing on. Everything is based on normal economy on my tests. If you're playing on easy, then yeah, you're going to want to lime a lot more often because your crops are a lot, they're worth a lot more, right? Because you're getting about 1.66 times the amount of money for your crops. So you're going to have more money coming in, which means you can use more money to spend on your lime. And I think at that point, then you're just going to want to lime like once, every time or every other time, and it's not going to hurt you that bad. I didn't go through and look at all that data because it's a lot more, and I didn't want to bore you guys with any more here. Another thing that's going to affect this is the price of your lime, because this is all based on base game. So we're at the store right now, and as you can see that a bag of lime is $450, but it's 2,000 liters. So that is where I got all of my prices from for this testing. Well, we all know that there are mods out there that allow you to spend less money on your minerals, right? To be able to bring your crops up, your yields on your crops. But which one is the best? I did a poll recently asking the community which mod they use to get all of their fertilizer, lime, things like that. And the answer was really surprising. And what I mean is they're not using the most efficient one, right? They're using one that actually costs a little bit more money than base game. So what we're going to do is do another video here right after this and take a look at the best way to get lime. So that's going to be it for today, everybody. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you would. If you want to be kept up to date on all my latest precision farming videos, especially anything covering lime here, think about hitting that subscribe button. And if you do, hit the notification bell too. Have a great day, night, evening, everybody. Until next time, this is Driver 53 signing off.